morning, boys and girls, and children of all ages. Welcome to another edition of Coffee and Sports in the Morning. I'm your host for today, Mr. William D. Morgan, and I have my brother, my partner in crime with me, Mo Better. Mo, how you doing today?
I'm doing great on a terrible Tuesday. Let's get into it.
Oh yeah. First thing we want to talk about, and hopefully we'll have Seven joining us as well a little bit later. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and bring him on right now.
Boom. What's up, guys?
What's up,
Hey,
man?
how's it going?
Good to have you here, brother. Good to have you here.
Thank you for
Um,
having me.
First thing I did want to bring up, I did want to bring up the game last night that we saw possibly the end of Aaron Rodgers as the Texans defeat the Steelers 30-6. Two questions, and I'll get this from both of you. Mo, I'll start with you. Is this really the end for Aaron Rodgers, and is Mike Tomlin done in Pittsburgh?
I think it is the end for Aaron Rodgers. And look, Hall of Fame career. He's going to walk into the Hall of Fame. He's had a great career. But 42-year-old quarterbacks, they don't get younger. They just get older. Bringing him back another year. Pittsburgh needs to do something that they haven't done in almost a decade, and that solved the fact that they don't have a franchise quarterback instead of keep settling for Band-Aids. I thought Aaron Rodgers, for his age and where he's at in his career, I don't think he embarrassed himself. I thought he had a solid year, but he's still 42. And playing the Texans last night, that was like the perfect storm. He's not as mobile as he used to be. They have the dominant pass rush, dominant defense. The results aren't shocking. I think most of us picked the Texans. And truthfully, if CJ Stroud doesn't turn the ball over 3 times, it's a much bigger blowout. As
I
far as
agree.
Mike Tomlin goes, look, I've been tongue in cheek saying, well, he's fired. I'm only saying that because John Harbaugh got fired. And if you really look at their successes over recent years, they're pretty much on the same level. And if John Harbaugh got fired, why wouldn't Mike Tomlin get fired?
If
I'm,
I'm
I'm,
not
I'm just
mistaken,
using that logic.
and if I'm not mistaken, the last time the Steelers won a playoff game was the 2006 season when they went to the conference championship and they lost to the Patriots, if memory serves. I could be wrong on that, but memory serves. I think that's the last time they won a playoff game. Boy, that's a long time
It is.
to
They've lost
go without winning a playoff game.
seven straight playoff losses. I,
Oh, yeah.
I, I, I think your fan base would feel better had you won a game or two, at least where you felt like a legitimate contender. They've always felt like the team that we all agreed they overachieved and got in the playoffs, but nobody
Mhm.
thought the Steelers are a legitimate title. They're not. They're not. And I know you can't put that all on the coach, and I'm not. But he is part of management in the sense that the coach has a say when you're trying to address the quarterback position. They could have drafted Jackson Dart, but they courted Aaron Rodgers. They could have done the hard thing and draft a young rookie who's talented and try to coach him up and at least have something to build off of for the future. And they did what they've done the last few years and bring in another Band-Aid, and Tomlin is part of that. Look, he's been a great coach. He's been there a long time, but I'm always even minded. Whatever you say negatively about John Harbaugh or whatever, it's the same for Mike Tomlin. You can't give him extra credit because the Steelers have been just good enough to get into the playoffs and just good enough not to lose the playoffs, but they get destroyed in the playoffs. And to me, that's what I'm looking at. Like, you're not just losing once you're getting it, you're getting dominated and blown out. And watching the end of the game last night, I thought there was a lack of effort. I thought they actually quit. And I think Seven saw what I saw.
Seven, what you thinking, man? Is this really the end for Aaron Rodgers, and this is also going to be end of the road for Mike Tomlin?
So I'm going to I'll address them separately. This should be the end for both. I will start with that. This should be the end for both. As far as Aaron Rodgers and Mike Tomlin are concerned, and I said this separately, this is going to end up being together. As far as they're concerned, though, I would hope that this is the end of Aaron Rodgers' career. And the thing of it is, it was frustrating to watch when Brett Favre did this and kept coming back when he should have just walked off into the sunset. Now we've got Aaron Rodgers doing the same thing, trying to prove something that doesn't matter. We all know he's a Hall of Fame quarterback. He can try to sit there and claim that he will, he can try to go for another Super Bowl, but a Super Bowl caliber team does not need Aaron Rodgers. There's not a single team that is Super Bowl caliber that needs Aaron Rodgers. So he needs to understand that. I don't know if when he was doing the ayahuasca or when the 1,000 hands of his ancestors were holding him up, everybody forgot to tell him that fact, but that's a lot of people, But a Super Bowl caliber team does not need Aaron Rodgers. I think it's good though that the reports that he was a different person this year, that he was engaged with the team, the late night film sessions, he has the locker room. That to me, that's fantastic. That's the best thing out of this season for Aaron Rodgers, because I think it's good to kind of have the softening of that image a little bit from the weird asshole image that he had before. He should retire, but I something tells me he's not. And Skip Bayless said it last night on Twitter. He thinks that he and Tomlin are going to try and run it back, and I think it's going to happen. I think he's right. I think that something with the Rooneys and the GM, the front office there, Tomlin's going to find a way to convince him. I think that dude can sell ketchup popsicles and white gloves. I think that's why Tomlin still has a job. But I do think if Tomlin's going to get fired, it's because we saw that entire team give up on him last night in the third quarter. Like, if you look at how close that game was through the first half, like, it was a fight. That final score does not tell the story of how much of a fight that game was for the first, I would say 35 to 40 minutes of playtime. That last 5 to 10 minutes of the third quarter going into the fourth quarter, they started to crack. And in the fourth quarter, they scored what was it, like 20-something points was it 23 points in the fourth quarter last night? 23 points in the third quarter or fourth quarter last night by the Texans. Pittsburgh gave up. And I'm not saying that it was Aaron Rodgers gave up or this specific player. The whole team gave up last night. And that's on Mike Tomlin. And if Harbaugh, who really, like, his team, I've never once in the last few years, despite the struggles the Ravens have had, I never once saw a team give up on Harbaugh. Until we saw the end of the season where it looks like there were some reports that he lost the locker room, he lost Lamar Jackson, stuff like that. We never saw it there till the end. But that's when Harbaugh got fired. And I'm with Mo. Like, he is a better coach. He has had a better record. Like, listen to this. Just in the last 10 years, Harbaugh lost in the divisional round, lost the AFC Championship, lost the wild card, missed the playoffs once, divisional round, wild card. And then the 3 years before that missed the playoffs. And there's mostly winning records in here. Out of those 10 seasons, there's only 2 years or technically 3 where they didn't have winning records. You had a good run. They actually won playoff games in those runs. So it's he should, but we'll see it again next year.
My thing with the Steelers is the fact that you didn't put any playmakers around this man. If
the front office holds blame,
If DK Metcalf is your primary playmaker, you saw last night, you're in trouble. Because outside of that first drive in the first quarter, the first half, DK was pretty much silent after that. He's pretty much silent. And an older quarterback, you have to put weapons around him. Look what Tom Brady did when he left New England to go to Tampa. You had young players. You had a Chris Godwin. You had a Mike Evans. You had a young defense, a young good defense there. And he won. And he knew, hey, and it's probably the toughest thing that you have to do as an older player is to realize you're not what you used to be. And for him to go to the Steelers and for the Steelers not to put talent around them. I mean, I like Warren, I like Frymouth, I like Jonnu Smith, but they ain't nowhere near enough. Nowhere near enough.
Well, Mike Tomlin's kind of a victim of his own success.
Yes.
That's fair.
Because he's been able to make a team that we look at on paper that shouldn't be in the playoffs, and they find a way to get into the playoffs. And so he hasn't had that season where they were so bad that they had a top 3 pick to where they could draft a franchise quarterback. They haven't been bad enough to be able to draft that guy, and they haven't really been good enough to warrant him staying over the last 8 or 9 years. It's weird. It's a weird thing to say. We have a coach in place. He's a culture builder.
Yes.
But results matter. They keep their biggest. What's the biggest line in the Steeler world? The standard is the standard. You've lost 7 straight playoff games. You're not meeting the mark. You're not meeting the standard.
No.
And look, I know the Rooneys aren't big on turnover. They've had 3 coaches in the history of the franchise. But at some point, even as great a motivator as Mike Tomlin is, you're basically a 500 coach, right? You're just good enough to get into the playoffs, and you get knocked out immediately.
Yes.
The solution is simple. You have to do the tough thing, and the tough thing is it's not just change Mike Tomlin. You might want to change Mike Tomlin. Might want to change your GM, because I would argue the Steelers GM is not one of the best GMs in football.
No.
Because he's put that roster together, and they've emphasized defense, which, by the way, has been the cornerstone of Pittsburgh Steelers football forever. But the defense is a good defense. It's not a dominant defense. It's vastly overrated. And the offense, they've not made any playmakers. And the playmakers they've had, they've coached them up, but they weren't great character guys, because if that were the case, obviously George Pickens would still be a member of the Steelers.
Yep.
But when you get rid of talent like that, if you don't replace it, I'm just saying, when talent walks out the door, if you're not flush with depth, it shows on the field.
Right.
I look at DJ Metcalf. I get it. He's an elite athlete, and people want to say he's a number 1 receiver. I don't think he's a number 1 receiver. I don't. I think he's more of a 2. He might have number 1 talent, but he's not a number 1 receiver.
If a team, like, let's say, because I saw one of my friends on Facebook who was drunk, posted that he would do well with the Chiefs, and I don't think that he would as a Chiefs fan. But I'll say this: you put him with a solid Mahomes, Allen type, Lamar type quarterback. You put him in the slot. DK Metcalf is going to have 100 yards a game. You put him out wide where where work has to be done. You're going to get inconsistent results, and that's exactly what the Steelers are seeing. I like DK Metcalf too. I think he has the talent. You're right. He has the talent to be a great receiver, but he is. You will get more out of him as a 2 than a 1. And the ultimate problem, and it seems like in every spot with the Steelers, whether we look at the offense, the defense, coaching, the GM, Will and I work in sales. We were talking about this last night after Sports Report. Will and I work in sales. When you work in sales, you got to close. If you're not closing, you're not worth it to the company. And they're not closing. In every spot on that team, from number 54 on the roster. What's up, Jason? From number 54 on the roster to number 1, through all the coaching staff.
What's up, Anthony?
All of the coaching staff, GM, everybody. I'm going to say this, even to the Rooneys, not closing. If we're not closing, we lose our job.
Stop it. All these opinions are irrelevant. What's that, John?
So like they gotta figure out how to close, or they gotta change it up.
I like the way
Bring
you
Gary
put
V in
that.
or something.
I like the way you guys put that about having to close. So if that's the theme, then is not Mike Tomlin the guy that used to close all the time, but now he's the guy that you're like, your numbers have been down for years, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
You ain't made,
you have made your quotas,
12 months.
right? And you've been living off of what you used to do. And I'm only setting the bar there because that was also the standard for John Harbaugh. We knew this. Remember, he had just signed an extension. They thought they were going to be like 14-2, or you know what I mean, and be number one seed in the AFC. And not only did they underachieve, they got bounced. They didn't even make the postseason, and he got the boot. And I'm not rooting for Mike Tomlin to be fired, but I certainly understand why they would make a change.
I mean, this team was so desperate, they went and got Adam Thielen off free agency. Come on now.
The personnel decisions are weird to me. And I think that's the biggest thing. Like with what Mo said about the GM. Like, if you're not going to move Tomlin, you at least have to move the GM. And if Tomlin had a bunch of input on some of these questionable decisions with the roster, then he's got to lose his authority to have that discussion. You got to step back and say, look, you're going to play with the roster we give you.
To me,
and it's baffling.
To me, you're going to have to fire him because I can't see Tomlin walking away from $16 million.
Oh, yeah, he's not going to step down.
He ain't going to step down. You're going to have to fire the man. You're going to have to fire the man.
I think pay him. Arthur Smith is terrible. Terrible.
He's trash.
The white guy Arthur Smith is just a terrible.
You thought he was a brother.
Listen, okay. But not a great offensive coordinator. And as a Chiefs fan, having to deal with Matt Nagy this year. A bad offensive coordinator, even with good pieces on offense. Because legitimately, there are some good pieces on that offense. But if you're not going to scheme them correctly, what's the point?
I like Warren. I like Gainwell. I like both of those guys at the running back spot. Like I say, Freiermuth as tight end. But look, TJ Watt ain't getting no younger. No. Cam Hayward ain't getting no younger.
No.
So y'all need to do something while you have this talent in a prime. That defense is still decent. They do somewhat exotic stuff, but man, they just need to get better. And I really think that Tomlin, while I think he's a good coach, I think he's a good dude, that doesn't mean your message is being heard. And
so I want to ask you a question really quick, because I was looking at the depth chart for the Steelers, and let's see, 4, 8, 10, 14. The Steelers have, as of the end of the season, 14 players that ended the season on IR. That's a lot. Does that impact? How much do you think that impacts the decision as far as moving on from the GM, moving on from Tomlin? What does that? Because injuries have been an issue all over the NFL this year. But we've seen. But how does that impact it?
But to me, none. Because if you look at what most teams do on the 49ers, yeah, they've been hurt. Been hurt all year. But look where they are.
They're 49ers going to stand for how many players they have on injured reserve.
It's 49ers. I said it yesterday. Next man up. And next man up, that philosophy has been winning. I think it ends Sunday against Seattle. But
it's fair.
But yeah. It's been next man up for the 49ers all year, and everybody's hurt. So I'm not blaming injuries for the Steelers' shortcomings, because everybody's hurt right now. Everybody's hurt.
Everybody in their division, in the AFC North division, had tons of injuries.
Oh yeah.
That can't be like you. Even if you're the GM and go, hey, I picked the players, but I can't control whether they're injured or not. You might get that pass this year, but if I'm the owner, I'm going to go, what about the last 7 years? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a relevant question.
That's what I want to know. What about the last 7 years? Are we gonna always use that excuse?
Exactly. With that being said, we have our divisional playoffs set. Over in the AFC, we have the Bills versus the Broncos in Denver. We also have the Houston Texans against the New England Patriots in New England. Let's look at the Bills Broncos game first. Let me get your opinions on that, Mo. Who do you think wins and why?
Everything tells me that Denver's going to win because of that dominant defense. But I'm going to lean with we just talked about it. It's a quarterback driven league, but Josh Allen is more than just a quarterback. He's also a great athlete.
Yeah.
While Denver has a great pass rush, Josh Allen's going to go into that game knowing I probably need to run for about 65, 70 yards. You know what I mean? I'm going to need to use my legs. I'm more confident in Josh Allen and the Bills offense than I am with Bo Nix. And I feel a lot like about the Texans, the Broncos offense, the way I felt about the Texans offense. If they can score 17 points and they don't turn the football over, they're probably going to win. I don't think they're going to score 17 points on offense. I think it's going to be a tough defensive game. Even though Denver has a better defense, Buffalo has the best football player in the field. I'm going to go with the Bills in a close game.
I think that if they could contain James Cooks, and stop the law firm of Kincaid and Knox, I think the Broncos can win this game. They're gonna have that offense is gonna have to be on all cylinders, though. It's gonna have to be on all cylinders because, and you're gonna have to get some distance because Josh Allen can pretty much keep you in any game if you keep it close. Seven, what you thinking, bro?
You see, it's tough because like when you look at the way things are set up here, even like DraftKings only has them as a 1.5 point favorite. You normally get 3 just as the home favorite as a gift. So even DraftKings is like, I don't know who's gonna win this game. But to me, when I look at this, I'm gonna lean towards the Broncos, and there's 2 reasons. Number one, we've seen what happens to Josh Allen when he gets hit in the mouth with a real defense. And Denver's not playing around. Josh Allen likes to crumble in those situations. And number 2, I do not believe that Sean McDermott can outcoach Sean Payton. Sean Payton in the playoffs is a different animal as a coach. And I will respect that. Sean McDermott, as track record has shown, has struggled in those moments, especially against a really good coach. It is not hard if you know what you're doing as a head coach to outcoach Sean McDermott. So I will say, because of the defense and Sean Payton, I am going to take the Broncos, but it is going to be a close game.
Who's the number one for the Bills? Who's Patrick Surtain shutting down?
Well, see, that's the thing. They don't actually have a number one, so that's the mystery, right? Who are you? Who is he shutting down? Look, I get what you're saying, but I'm gonna say this: as good a coach as Sean Payton is, Bo Nix turns the football over.
He does.
He turns the football over, and Sean Payton can't control that. Like I think in a lot of ways the same that's going to be the Texans' biggest bugaboo going forward. Not what the defense does. Is C.J. Stroud going to put them behind the 8 ball by turning the football over and not being able to score? I just think that in a low-scoring game, if it's going to be a close football game, Broncos going to win. Broncos going to lose that. If it's a close football game, who do you trust to make a play?
Right.
I trust Josh Allen to make a play more than I do Bo Nix.
And that's why I said you got to create some type of distance there because as you've seen versus Jacksonville, you don't want to give Josh Allen any room for any type of late game heroics.
No, you got to be in his face the whole night because if you give him a second, he will cut it up. But his record for both road playoff games and his record in the red zone when in clutch moments is why I question Josh Allen. I'm not saying he doesn't have elite talent. He's an elite athlete. I will always respect the hell out of Josh Allen for that. But again, we talk about closing. Josh Allen in closing situation has proven time and time again he can't always get it done. And with Bo Nix, yes, he is a turnover merchant, but I can put enough faith in Sean Payton coaching in the playoffs to see something happen. Sean McDermott coaching in the playoffs it's been proven something's going to happen at some point.
Cortland Sutton's going to have to come. He's going to have a good game also to keep that to help facilitate that separation. Because, like I said, you do not want to keep Josh Allen hanging around. All right, let's move over to that next game. We got the Texans versus the Patriots. This is a home game for the Patriots that they have home field advantage. 7, what you thinking?
Man, the Texans remind me of that early 2000s Ravens team that won the Super Bowl.
Yep.
But I would take CJ Stroud over slightly over Trent Dilfer. I think that I will say that I absolutely love what the Patriots have done this year. I really, really enjoy seeing how Drake May has come up as a quarterback. But that Texans defense is going to hit you in the mouth. They're going to play hard. They're going to be in your face. And when you have the inexperience of those moments in the playoffs, like Drake May, I think that there's a little bit of an edge there to me for CJ. Just because of CJ's postseason experience. CJ's, been in the national championship for college football. Like, I think that light is it's not as bright for him as it's going to be for Drake May this time around. If they were both equal level experience, I might lean more towards the Patriots, but I'm going to give the edge to the Texans in this one. But it is going to be a defensive contest for sure.
Mel, what you thinking, man?
It's going to be a black and blue game for sure. Physical, hard hitting. If you're a fan of defensive football, I think that's what you're going to get.
Yes.
Here's the thing, though. Even though Drake May is the younger guy, I think he's established himself in terms of being a leader. I think Drake May is kind of an old soul on the field. Everything says you should take the Texans because of the defense. I trust Drake May more than I trust Stroud. Stroud turns the football over. It's something he's always done. And look, even though May's younger, he's kind of ahead of Stroud. He kind of leapfrogged him. Drake May might win league MVP. CJ Stroud has never been in that conversation.
No.
So look, Texans better defense by far, the dominant defense. But I think between the two teams, the Patriots is a more balanced team. I'm going to take the Patriots in a close game.
So we have a question here in chat. Which is more important, winning records or championships? Because if an accolade are the most important, why are we caring about the playoffs and getting to the big game?
I think you have to decide what your definition of accolades is. Because, like, to me, and this is where you kind of get into GOAT arguments and stuff like that. I think that making the big game is an accolade in and of itself because it is so hard. And teams, even the losing teams, don't make it back to the big game the next year very often. Yes. And so I think if you look at what your definition of accolades are, you could look at accolades, but ultimately the goal is always the championship. Mm-hmm. But which level are you focused on? Are you just trying to win your division? Are you trying to win the AFC or the NFC? Are you trying to like which championship is the goal? What is the standard that you're trying to set? Right. That's why we look at a team like the Bengals would be happy if they won a division championship. Right. The Chiefs aren't looking at the division championship. They're not even looking at the AFC championship. For the Chiefs, their standard is Super Bowl. So I think it depends on what accolades you're looking at and which championship you're talking about.
To me, it's real simple. You start every season out. The goal is not to not make the playoffs. The goal is not to not win the Super Bowl. Now, some teams are unrealistic if they think they can, but I think that the ultimate goal is to win it all. Does look at a guy like Jim Kelly, made it to the 4 Super Bowls, but he also lost 4 Super Bowls. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback, but he's not sitting at a certain Hall of Fame quarterback table for a reason.
Right.
There's levels to it. Like Jim Kelly not sitting next to John Elway and Joe Montana and Tom Brady. He's a great guy, but he's not sitting at that table.
Right.
He should be, though. He should be.
Really?
How many of those guys made 4 Super? How many of those guys were successful enough and good enough at their job to do it 4 times in a row? Patrick Mahomes is the only other one who has that discussion. He didn't win every one and winning is amazing. The totality of winning a number of championships is great. But Troy Aikman, I would take Jim Kelly over Troy Aikman.
I would not.
Because Jim Kelly got them there 4 times in a row. Troy Aikman, you couldn't rely on. If you go back and look at his body of work, and he was talking about, with Patrick Mahomes, how many, talk to me when he gets to my level of championships. Oh, he's already done that. Like already. Like it is, and this is the thing with the Super Bowl or the championships arguments when you're talking about GOATs. People undervalue the difficulty it is just to make the championship. And I think that we have to go back to understanding that discussion because it is remarkably difficult to do what Jim Kelly did. I would argue it's harder to do what Jim Kelly did than what Troy Aikman did. 4 in a row?
Yeah.
4 in a row.
I think that's great, but as hard as that is to do, you still lost all 4. Like the goal is to win. It's not an attendance record. Like the kid that has perfect attendance in school, but is a D student, he shouldn't be recognized as being a better student than the kid that didn't have perfect attendance, but is an A student. So while it's great that Jim Kelly made 4 Super Bowls, again, he should not be sitting at the table at the greatest quarterback of all time because he ain't one of them. He's very good, but he's not one of them. And while I'm not a huge Troy Aikman fan, he did beat Jim Kelly in the Super Bowl, so they played head up. That's why Troy Aikman is considered ahead of Jim Kelly. Winning does matter. I think if all you do is put up huge numbers and you go to the Super Bowl, but you don't win, you're the guy that puts up huge numbers, but you don't win. That's kind of how it goes. I'm not a huge Eli Manning fan, but Eli Manning is going to the Hall of Fame based purely on the fact that he went on 2 Super Bowl runs because the rest of his career in totality is trash.
But let's not ignore the fact that that part of the weight of Eli Manning's Super Bowl run is the fact that both of those wins were against Tom Brady.
That's why he's in the Hall of Fame.
Even better,
right?
If he's beating scrub quarterbacks in those two Super Bowls, I think we're having a completely different discussion about Eli Manning. The weight of who he beat is part of that success.
100%.
And because I don't think Eli Manning's a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Look, I wouldn't vote him in, but I know why he's getting in. And look, we talked about this, me and Chris, multiple times. He's really in, and he's beating Brady. But if you're being honest, Michael Strahan and all those are the guys that actually beat Tom Brady.
Right.
Brady comes in there with 2 of the best offenses of all time, and that defense shuts that offense down. It wasn't Eli. Now, Eli made 2 great throws, but if that defense doesn't dominate the Patriots offense for 4 quarters, game over.
I think too that when you go back and you look at championships, and I agree with you, Mo, I think there's levels to it, and what they mean. Eli beat Brady. I got a buddy of mine by the name of Tony C. calls Eli the Brady killer.
The Brady killer. He should get a T-shirt.
He called him the Brady killer.
I kind of like that.
I said, man. But yeah.
Well, look at John Elway's career. Look at John Elway.
Yeah.
Look what John Elway did. John Elway took 3 teams to the Super Bowl that had no business being in the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Didn't have a top defense. Didn't have a 1,000-yard back. Didn't have Pro Bowl wide receivers. Elway took him to 3 Super. Now he got destroyed in all 3 Super Bowls, but that's because they shouldn't have been there to begin with.
Right. Right.
Let's remember something about the Jim Kelly Buffalo Bills. They had like 8 Pro Bowlers on defense and 8 Pro Bowlers on offense. Like they had Pro Bowlers everywhere and came up short. Like think about Cornelius Bennett and they were stacked.
Oh yeah.
Thurman Thomas, Hall of Fame wide
Bruce
receiver.
Smith.
Remember Andre Reed, James Lofton. Like they were loaded.
Bruce Smith.
I'm just saying that sometimes we do that. He's done more with less. Jim Kelly did what he was supposed to do with a stacked team. He did everything but the thing that matters most. And that's win.
Right.
But let me ask you a question here. Okay. Dan Marino only made the Super Bowl once and lost. Jim Kelly made the Super Bowl 4 times in a row and lost. But you would be hard pressed to find a person that would take Jim Kelly over Dan Marino.
That makes sense to me.
Makes sense to me too.
Well, look, here's the thing. If we're gonna do the whole thing, this all starts with the very first appearance in the Super Bowl. If Scott Norwood doesn't miss field goal, changes Buffalo. It changes. I don't think it just changes that they win that Super Bowl. I think it changes what happens with the rest of the Super Bowls. Because if we all remember, after that close Super Bowl, every other Super Bowl the Bills were in, they didn't just lose. They got destroyed. Destroyed. Like we talk about getting there, but they got destroyed. That means Jim Kelly is the quarterback of 3 teams that got blown out in the Super Bowl. He can't sit at the other table. It'd be different if he was competitive in those Super Bowls, but he wasn't.
He can sit. He can sit at he can go to the hall or the table of the very good.
Yes,
but
which is where he belongs.
Yeah, he can do that.
Elway would have been at the same table if not for at the end of his career. Shanahan got with him, and obviously they had Thurman Thomas. I mean, not Thurman Thomas. They had Terrell Davis. My point is, he would have been at the same table, but he won those 2 Super Bowls at the end.
Yep. Exactly. Let's move on over to the NFC game. I want to talk about the Rams versus the Bears. It's in Chicago. Mo, I'll start with you. What's your outlook for that game?
I don't know how the Bears win, and it's not disrespectful. I'm simply talking about their defense, because a lot of us talk about how they got 33 turnovers. Right, they're really good at stripping the ball and deflections, but if you just go on base defense, they're not a good defense.
No,
and I don't know how they stop that Rams offense. Like, to me, the only way I see them winning is if they win in a shootout. But I don't think it's going to be a shootout. I think the Rams are the better football team. I think the Rams are going to win the game.
Seven, what you thinking, man?
The Rams should win this game. Let's start with that. The Rams should absolutely win this game. 3.5-point favorites on the road. That means it's actually because you have the gift that you would normally give the home team of 3. It's probably more like 7 is the actual favor in that game. For me, the Rams should win this game, but the Bears, as of late, have won multiple games that they shouldn't have. The thing that you have to do if you're the Rams is play mistake-free football. As long as you don't make mistakes. And I'm not saying it has to be perfect. I'm talking big mistakes, no stupid turnovers. Don't, go for it on 4th and 20 for some stupid reason. Like, do it right, and you'll be fine. But the teams that are losing to the Bears are beating themselves. You can't look at that game last week and tell me that the Bears outright beat Green Bay. Green Bay beat themselves. So, yeah, and I agree with Jory on this. I also like McVay as a coach better than I do Matt LaFleur. So I think that that's going to make a difference here because because McVay can outcoach Ben Johnson, especially with experience. I I like the Rams. I think that I think it's going to be a more than a 1-score game, but I don't think it's going to be over 2.
I think.
But yeah, I like the Rams.
I think for the Bears to win, they're gonna have to continue to create turnovers and score. They're gonna have to get some scoops and scores. And to your point, 7, they can't really make that crucial mistake. Matt Stafford can't expect to play the way he did this week and play like that next week and expect to win. No, this is a fourth quarter team. And again, I said separation before. This is the same case. You're gonna have to create some separation, because if you don't create any separation to keep the pressure on, unlike Green Bay did, with those missed field goals. Listen, you could, the Bears, I said it before, they're a fourth quarter team. They could come back and easily get that victory. So they're gonna have to keep the pressure on, and that's a good point too, Anthony, because they're playing in the cold.
I mean,
win more than likely.
It's a fair point, and it will affect some players. But right. I mean, but guess what?
Yeah, that kind of cold though, Jerry.
You know what's not going to happen? It's not going to affect the quarterback, because Matthew Stafford played in that division.
Played Detroit.
He used to it. Yeah. Right. He used to it. He gonna be fine. The cold ain't gonna bother him. It might bother some people, but it won't bother him.
That's going to be interesting to see what Chicago can scheme, because with Devontae back, you just can't double Puka. So, and with the way they play their tight ends, it's going to be interesting to see how the Bears come in defensive-wise. Like I said, I don't think the defense is very good, but if Stafford doesn't make any mistakes, I don't see how the Rams don't win this game. Now, if he starts making mistakes and things like that, then okay, they got a shot to keep the Bears in the game, and that's dangerous because, again, you can lose. But I think that's the only way the Bears win. They got to continue to create turnovers and get some scooping scores. Hang around, and if they can, they got a shot. But if the Rams just blitzes them offensively, ain't nothing they can do.
If the Rams can run the football, it's gonna be a blowout.
Yeah.
If the Rams can run the football, it's gonna be a blowout.
And they got 2 good running backs in Williams and Corbin.
And look,
I love that core.
I think the Bears are one of the better running back tandems in the league too. So look, if they can run the ball, it can offset some things and make life easier for Caleb Williams. I think we always talk about, if you take care of the football, you're usually the team is going to be in the better shape. The Bears need this to be a chaotic game, because if they just play straight up, strength on strength, they're going to get blown out. They have to find a way to create turnovers. They have to, maybe Matthew Stafford gets overconfident and he's sloppy like he was last week. If he plays the way he did last week, that's how the Bears win a football game.
I will say this, like, when you look at, if you're the Bears, I think that one of the ways that you can try to have more control in this game is you almost have to approach it like you would play in like a Lamar or a Mahomes or a Herbert, where you know the wheels are going to be a factor. Keep the ball on the ground more, especially because you have DeAndre Swift and Manata guy. I can never say his last name right. Their backup running back.
That's tough.
Like, they do have a good running back tandem. And also the wheels of Caleb Williams as well are a factor. If you keep the ball on the ground, I think that you give yourselves more of an advantage, because even if it's a slower pace game, you're keeping Matt Stafford on the sideline. And Chicago's defense can do some stuff. I'm not saying you're a bad defense by any means, but the less time they have to spend on the field, the less of a liability they can be.
Real quick, everybody, you're listening to Coffee and Sports in the Morning here on Wire to Wire Network. Got 15 minutes in. Let's move on over to the next game, final game. We got the 49ers at Seahawks. Mo, you're a 49ers fan. Can the 49ers rally one more time and get this win?
So I'll do this the same way I did it leading up to the Eagles game. Yeah, the 49ers can win if the Eagles help them. If the Eagles, yes, it's the same thing. Talent for talent, and what both teams are. there's no way the Niners should be able to beat the Seattle Seahawks. Not only should they not beat them, it shouldn't be a close football game.
Yeah.
And I love the Niners. Love everything Salah. Love everything. Look, they've done a great job of coaching guys up, next man up. But the Eagles' offense was horrible.
Yep.
Horrible versus a team that doesn't have a pass rush. I don't even know, like, how does that happen? I of course I'm rooting for the Niners to win, but Seattle's not just a better team, they're the more physical team. They're going to run the football, they're going to be able to run the football, and they're going to make life easy for Sam Darnold, so he's going to be really active with play action. And defensively, the way I said C-Mac would be effective out the backfield, Seattle's not having that. They're not having that. They're going to take their first thing they're going to do is take C-Mac out of the game. After that, no George Kittle. Good wide receivers, but nobody's a number one.
Right.
My if I'm predicting, Brock's probably going to throw another 2 picks, maybe 3.
Is Juwan Johnson playing?
Jennings,
I'm sorry. Is Juwan Jennings playing?
He will. What about Ricky Pearsall? That's the question, because I like Ricky, and he's not a true number 2, at least not yet, I don't think. But he does have those flashes where he's really good.
He's hurt.
So, but he's been hurt, like he's questionable. And so, are you going to get Ricky Pearsall where you can get 75 to 100 yards receiving out of him, and another 100, 150 out of Juwan Jennings? Then you've got a shot to at least keep it close. But if you're again having to move down that depth chart and rely on guys like Demarcus Robinson, Kendrick Bourne, Sky Moore, Jordan Watkins, you don't have to rely on guys like Kendrick Bourne and Sky Moore. I can tell you as a Chiefs fan, you don't want to have to rely on Sky Moore. So
let's do Sky Moore like that, man.
Sorry, just doing it based on what he's done, nothing more. Yeah. That's the thing that's the true disadvantage, because the 49ers on defense really aren't bad. Like I like the 49ers defense, but again, you're struggling with injury issues. Robert Saleh should absolutely be looked at for defensive coordinator of the year.
Agreed.
Because he has shown, first of all, that's where he belongs, is as a DC, kind of like Steve Spagnuolo. You don't want him as head coach. You want him as a defensive coordinator, because he's going to give you one of the top 5 defenses in the league every year, or at least be shooting for it. So I respect the hell out of Robert Saleh. I saw the comment earlier about Kyle Shanahan being coach of the year. I get it. I happen to understand and appreciate that argument. If he gets it, I'm not going to be mad. I get that 100%. This 49ers team, though, man, like, you can only keep getting punched in the mouth so much before eventually you actually just lay down, because it's time.
No George Kittle in this game. No Fred Warner. No Boza. C-Mac looks to be a little shaken up.
He's taking a beating this year.
Yeah, he's playing hurt. But credit to him. How many times have we seen CMC go down and be out for the year because he was injured? This year, he's playing through injury. He's playing hurt, and we're still getting the CMC that we expect. So right. to that, I respect the hell out of CMC for that.
Yes.
Look, we need. I'm talking about Niners fans. What we need Sam Darnold to get into the game and think the moment's too big for him. I need Sam Darnold throwing balls where I need Sam Darnold throwing passes that he shouldn't throw. Again, I'm just being a realist. The Niners, in order for them to win, they need some help from the Seahawks.
Now, let me ask this question. I'm going off to the NBA real quick. Want to ask this question, then we'll go over a couple of quick highlights, then we'll get on out of here. Mo, what's going on with your Lakers, man?
Come on.
What's going on with your Lakers?
So let me say one thing.
Y'all
I don't know
the Kings.
I don't know if anybody is talking about this or noticed this. So LeBron, before the game, wore a patch. He has a patch on his jersey, and it's a patch commemorating LeBron James. I'm not making this up. I'm not making this up. Yes. And so he's commemorating. Oh my God. Obviously what he's commemorating is his first game in the NBA which 23 years ago, versus who? The Sacramento Kings.
Oh my God.
And I think the Kings players took some offense to that, and they proceeded to beat the brakes off the Lakers. But only LeBron would wear a patch commemorating LeBron.
I think you're right. First, yes, it was massive distraction. The Lakers are 4-6 in their last 10.
Yep.
The Suns are sniffing right. I mean, there's a 1 game difference between the Lakers and the Suns right now, which the Suns have surprised the hell out of a lot of people this year, even me, and I'm a Suns fan. For me, it's they have been really good this year, despite some of the issues that they've had. But with the Lakers, it always happens this time of year. If you think about it, every year, and this isn't just in LeBron years, this in recent history in the Lakers, this time of year, every year they hit a slump. They're going to go 4-6 out of 10 for a while. They're going to slip back a little bit. And then all of a sudden, about game 50, 55, they're going to turn it back on again. And they're going to be one of the top 5 teams in the West.
They're the biggest tease in the league.
Well, I mean, I don't disagree with that premise that you laid out. Then they're also going to get knocked out in the first round of playoffs.
Oh,
you laughed out the obvious thing. Like, yeah, they might be top 5 in the West, and then they're going to get knocked out in the playoffs. And why will they get knocked out? Why will they get knocked out in the playoffs? A lot of people talked about how good the trio would be of LeBron, Luka, and Austin Reeves. Here's the reality: whenever the 3 of them has been on the floor, the Lakers have been worse on offense and defense. The 3 of them don't mesh well. You can't have 3 ball dominant players, because that's what happened. Luka's ball dominant, LeBron's ball dominant. Austin Reeves became a star this year when LeBron was out because they got the highlight ISO ball and he was ball dominant. Yep. You put the 3 of them on the floor, your offense is horrible. And defensively, you can pick and choose who you want to hunt. You want to hunt LeBron, Luka, Austin Reeves. You want to hunt DeAndre Ayton because he ain't guarding nobody.
He's useless.
The Lakers are one of those teams that they feast off of bad teams, which there's nothing wrong with that. And then they usually get blown out by really good teams. Getting blown out by the Kings last night, I honestly believe that was more about the patch more than anything. But look. If the goal is to win a title, no one looks at the Lakers as title contenders.
Leave the Bulls alone, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. Leave them alone.
Here's what I will say, because I think you're right about the issues with Austin Reeves, LeBron James, and Luka Doncic on the floor. LeBron has to do something that I don't think a lot of people are going to recognize right now, but I think it's true. LeBron has to step back to the 3. You cannot. It should be Luka, Austin Reeves, and then LeBron. That should be the ranking for ball dominance on that team right now. And the reason that I say it's not to take away from anything LeBron's done. It's not to say that Austin Reeves is a better basketball player overall than LeBron James. But right now, and especially for the future of the Lakers, it's Luka and the Great White Hope. Imagine how good you. But think about this for a second. You have Luka Doncic on your team, and you are still so good as Austin Reeves that you get the nickname the Great White Hope. Like, that is just fantastic. But anyway, he's recognized publicly that he has to kind of let Luka take the lead on that. But he's got to step back behind Austin Reeves too. That's the only way this works as they get into the postseason.
I don't even disagree with that. I think LeBron, you can still be a star. You're going to be a star. LeBron James. Yeah. You're you know what I mean? Like you're a Mount Rushmore player. You can take a step back if it's for the betterment of the team. And because you're LeBron James, if you take a step back and the team is better, people's going to recognize you did a big leadership move. Like, you get credit for that.
Right.
Again, I think that's what he's got to do. Like, it can't be about, I still want to show people that I can give you 28 or 30 a night. It has to be more about, what do we need to do from me for us to be really contenders and be really good. And if he can do that, which by the way, I know he can do that, that'd be great for the team. The thing is, ego's a hard thing to set aside.
Yeah.
And when the NBA has revolved around you for over 20 years, it's very hard to go, yeah, it's his time now. I'm a secondary star. I don't know if LeBron is ready. I don't know if he'll ever be ready to do something like that.
Dwayne Wade did it though.
He did. He did.
Yeah, but
I know it's a
Dwayne
different
Wade
situation.
didn't have
but
I was gonna say, but Dwayne Wade didn't have the same impact that LeBron James did in his prime. But that's the thing. That's the frustrating part for this is LeBron would look even better than he does if he took that step back. But getting that to happen,
right.
And this isn't just about LeBron. This is about JJ. This is about Luka. This is about Austin. This is about everybody being on that same page. Because, I mean, as long as you've been around these guys, it's almost instinct that you want to defer to LeBron because it's LeBron. It's King James.
Yep.
You've got to change that mindset as a team and recognize that LeBron is your guy that you're going to kick it out to on the wing or whatever else that's your third option.
Right.
Because you've got to look at Austin Reeves down in the paint, Luka outside, Luka in the paint, like whatever. Yep. Those are your first two options. And then you swing it out to LeBron.
All right. Oh, before we go, I do want to get this out as well. Congratulations to Mr. James Harden. He passes Shaq for number 9 on the NBA scoring list. So congratulations to James Harden.
Congrats to the strip club. They got that celebration party too.
They got the chicken wings there. They got the chicken wings and everything. Let's go, baby. Chicken wings and legs. Let's go. Real quick, I do want to go to both you guys. Any final thoughts we got before we get on out of here?
Look, I just appreciate the chat, the energy. Appreciate Seven, you, Will, guys hopping on. There was a little bit of a controversy. I don't know if you guys heard any of this. It was about in the Jaguars press conference.
Oh yeah, we talked about that last night. Yeah.
And obviously the comments that a lot of other like not just Jamel Hill, but maybe she was one of the bigger names that was critical of that reporter who by the way is a Jaguar local reporter. I can understand
Free Press, right?
Right. I can understand her sentiment. It's one of the few. It is actually a black run newspaper.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand why she said what she said, and I disagree with the way she said it, but I understand what she was trying to say.
Right.
I just didn't like the way that she said it.
It did make her sound more of a fan, but at the same point, and I think that's what kind of threw everybody off. But at the same point, it's what that coach needed at the time, because you can see he was having a hard time dealing with that loss and facing the media.
Oh, I agree.
And it's what that coach needed at the time. Was it a little unorthodox? Yeah.
I wasn't talking about her. I agree. I was fine with what she said. I was talking about I understand why Jamel Hill said what she said.
Because
I don't think she was wrong, but I don't like the way she said it.
Right. I got you. You didn't have to approach it from a place of hate. You didn't have
right.
To,
you could have worded that so much better.
Oh,
That's all I'm saying.
Oh yeah.
Jamel Hill is somebody that frustrates me because there is so much talent and understanding of sports as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
But the rage baiting stuff that Jamel Hill says sometimes just pisses me off. Like I get pulled into it. But I was more angry about Shady McCoy's participation trophy.
Oh,
comment.
Yeah.
Bro, you got 2 participation trophies sitting right there on your shelf. Keep your mouth shut. Like that was that got under my skin, honestly, more than what Jamel Hill said. Because, like, dude, you got 2 Super Bowl rings that you weren't on the active roster for. You have the same number of snaps in the Super Bowl as Tim Tebow. Chill.
I like that. All right, you
That's
guys,
very
we're
good.
out of time. I want to say thank you again to both you gentlemen for coming on this morning. I want to say thank you to Wire Network for having us here. And if you know better, you do better. Mo, go ahead and close us out.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. Make sure you check out all the great content we have at Wire to Wire Network. Wire to Wire Network, we appreciate you.
All right, everybody. Don't forget to check out all the fine shows here on Wild Wire Network. We'll go over all of them as we go out. And we'll see you all again tomorrow here on Coffee and Sports in the Morning. Have a great day, everyone.